All right, guys, we got some stories here on this Wednesday morning hump day. Now, thank Pugface Media for this idea. He said, you'd really look good if you had like a newsroom backdrop. And I remembered that I had a green screen. I bought it in like 2007 to use on YouTube, and I used it several times. I thought maybe I should dig it out again because iMovie, one of the latest updates, gives you a green screen option on iMovie, which is Apple. So there you go. But we're going to try it and see how it works. If you are looking at just a plain green screen behind me, it means either the lighting wasn't just right or something else went wrong and it wasn't working. So I just have a green screen. If you see an image behind me, then we know it worked. Okay, because I don't know what I'm going to have until I go to a post-edit. Let's get to a couple of these stories, the editorial. But first, before we get to our editorial, I want to give you a snippet of a story that happened yesterday. I'm going to put a link to both of these in the description box below. But coming from The Guardian, a story of a series of shootings that happened at 3 massage parlors in the Atlanta, Georgia area have left 8 people dead, the majority of them women, leading to fears the killer had a racial motive. A 21-year-old man, Robert Aaron Long, is a suspect in the shootings and was taken into custody in southwest Georgia, about 150 miles from the city, after his car was intercepted by police after a manhunt. The killings occurred amid a rising number of attacks on Asian Americans across the U.S. since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. 6 of those killed again were Asian, while 2 were white. South Korea's foreign ministry added in a statement on Wednesday that its diplomats in Atlanta had confirmed from police that 4 of the victims who died were women of Korean descent. And so we'll give you that story in the description box below. That whole story, of course, will be there for you to read. Let's get to our editorial as well. And that's a very, very tragic thing. Now, I was going to say, too, is we're seeing a rise of gun violence across the nation since early last year. All the riots that happened and all the protests and lootings that happened last year over the death of Breonna Taylor and the death of George Floyd. But we're seeing and I don't know, maybe it's because I do editorials that it's just more prominent to me now, but it just seems to me like there's a rise in gun violence. I mean, Fontana, California has had a rise in shootings and just recently had a murder from a shooting. Let's get to our editorial. Thank you to clickorlando.com. A Daytona Beach police officer is charged with attempted murder after he was accused of stabbing a 24-year-old man in front of a New Smyrna Beach tavern while off duty. New Smyrna Beach police said Shane Jackson, 50, along with the victim and several others, were asked to leave Tayton O'Brien's at 410 Flagler Avenue Wednesday around 11 p.m. According to witnesses, the victim and his friends were partaking in karaoke when Jackson started dancing behind a 21-year-old woman, and the woman asked the victim to help get Jackson away from her. When the victim got in between his friend and Jackson, the 2 men got into a physical fight, according to the arrest report. The woman told the police he wouldn't leave me alone in the bar, and all the victim was try to keep him off of me. A witness who was singing on stage jumped down and broke up the fight. All parties were asked to leave Tayton O'Brien's at that time, according to the report. About 5 minutes later, witnesses who were with the victim said Jackson followed them from the first bar and approached them about 5 minutes after the first altercation. During that confrontation, Jackson stabbed the victim, an adult male, in the stomach, police said.
New Smyrna Beach police say that stabbing happened right here in front of Flagler Tavern. They said that once the fight broke out, the security guards from the tavern actually jumped in to break it up. Surveillance video from the Flagler Tavern shows 50-year-old Shane Jackson take a knife out of his pocket during an argument. It escalates. Police say that's when Jackson stabbed the 24-year-old man.
52, medic 50, emergency stabbing critical. at Flagler Tavern, 414 Flagler Avenue, New Smyrna Beach.
Police say leading up to it, Jackson was at the bar next door. They say Jackson started dancing behind a woman and she asked the victim to help her get Jackson away from her. The bar owners say the men started fighting in there and they kicked them out around 11 p.m. The stabbing happened 15 minutes later.
The male in his 20s stabbed him to the upper abdomen.
Police say Jackson left the scene walking down Flagler Avenue.
Looks like there's two security guards supposedly following the suspect.
Detectives say he appeared to be heavily under the influence of alcohol. He is charged with premeditated murder. He bonded out of jail and is expected back in court later this month. Jackson had been a patrol officer with Daytona Beach Police since 2017. Chief Jakara Young in a statement saying in part, "I will not tolerate the violent criminal actions that I witnessed from any member of this department. Shane Jackson has been terminated from employment with the Daytona Beach Police Department effective immediately." As far as the victim, police say that he was in the hospital in stable but critical condition at last check. In New Smyrna Beach, Volusia County, I'm Molly Reed, getting results, News 6.
Now, the troubling thing is this guy's been a patrol officer since 2017, so he's had at least 3.5 years to violate people's rights. How many people has this guy assaulted as a cop? I mean, he's definitely got so much anger in him that he stabbed somebody. I don't care that he was off duty and inebriated or drunk or whatever. He was still a cop, and he had that mentality. What, you know, they say that a drunk man speaks sober thoughts. So somewhere up here is this, you know, ability or capability of him to stab somebody. Thank God he didn't shoot the guy. That's what a lot of off-duty officers do, is they go pull their firearm, their Glock or whatever. But the police chief said, "I will not tolerate violent criminal actions that I witnessed from any member of this department." So all police chiefs always say that. We will not tolerate this. And what are we going to see in convictions, though? The guy got fired. Will they downgrade it again because they upgraded it to premeditated murder? Are they going to downgrade it again back to aggravated battery? And the guy's going to get 4 years in time and 3 years probation. Where you or I would get, 10 to 15 years, no parole. I don't know. What do you guys think about, this off-duty cop? I don't know. Anybody in Florida have any opinions on this? Let me know in the comment section below. I got to close this because I'm going to go get me something to drink like cocoa or coffee. It is St. Patty's Day today. Do you have your green on? I do have my green. I'm pointing down, but my wife got me some green PJs to wear. They have these weird Irish clovers all over them. So there you go. Hey, happy St. Patty's Day. Guys, I've got some great editorials coming next week. One of them is about a cop that they believe was associated with the Proud Boys. You say, who are the Proud Boys? We'll go over that as well when I give you that editorial later this week. We've got some great editorials coming for you this week. Don't tune away or you're going to miss some good stuff. And I'm kind of updating it. We'll see, get this green screen going. Maybe we can improve this a little bit and go that one step higher. Hi. Thank you, Community Leo Watch, watching Leos. That's law enforcement officers, to include those out of Florida that stab people and from coast to coast.